One of the tactics used by the left to excite their base is, of course, fear-mongering. But the problem is all of the fears they say they have never really come to pass. And this is what's going to be discussed by Greg Gutfeld over here on The Five. But before we begin, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
The Hollywood TDS crowd might be dipping into Joe Rogan's psychedelic stash because their anti-Trump hallucinations are getting wild. Hanoi Jane Fonda's panicked that CNN will no longer be a liberal echo chamber if Paramount buys Warner Brothers. And Whoopi thinks Trump's bringing back the draft.
Tonight we're going to be reporting about the protests in the streets.
No, sorry, that's the wrong script.
Tonight we're going to be reporting on the parties in the street.
Oh, parties. That sounds like fun.
That's right. Citizens have been partying in the streets for months now.
That's why they are planning on a draft. They're planning on a draft. And you're bitching and moaning that there are women who are part of the Army, Navy. We got no gas, can't get a whole lot of food.
Greg, I did not know this, and we cover the news for a living. I have not heard about the draft.
So this is the thing that we always have to remind ourselves of, and it's kind of a bummer. Their fears of us never come true, but our fears of them always materialize. It is not fair. I wish that our fears of them were fake and their fears were real. I mean, I wish, wouldn't it be great if our fears were fake and all those people that died in horrific crimes, they never happened? We just thought they did. These women being pushed in front of subway trains, or these gang members raping and mutilating young women. I wish that never happened. I wish our fears were as hallucinatory as them. When Whoopi says Trump is going to push for the draft, this is when she could instead talk about women who are victims of violence in sanctuary cities. That's real. That's not fake. They prefer fantasy evil because then they are not connected as a responsible person behind it.
Yeah, they're always putting us in jail, but what have we put in jail besides Don Lemon?
Yeah, and he liked it.
Oh, gosh.
He likes to be by himself.
Yeah, he's in solitary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I listened to that Whoopi on The View. I don't know what they're drinking at The View, what they're smoking at The View, what they're brainstorming at The View. Maybe they're not doing anything. Maybe this is how they think in rational fashion. But the predictions that have come out of The View, Joy Behar, she said that there was a pretext to stop the next election. So she predicted there would not be another election because of Trump.
Oh.
Not coming true. There's going to be an election. She also had this prediction. They're going to overturn Brown v. Board of Education and bring back segregated schools. Okay, failed to see that happen. And then this wasn't a prediction, but she said this recently. She said Jesus himself did not run around saying, I'm the Messiah, I'm the Messiah.
Pierce?
I just think the whole Trump derangement syndrome thing is just exhausting, isn't it? One of my first thoughts, I rang President Trump the morning after he won, so a few hours after he declared victory. And he picked the phone up. He was a little bit tired, a little bit hoarse. Probably the last person he wanted to speak to was me, but he took the call. And all I could think of as he was talking about his excitement about what he was going to do and stuff was, I suddenly thought, we're going to have 4 years of people howling and screaming and ranting and losing their minds. And it's just exhausting. It's exhausting. And my message to the people on the left in America is, you tried all this the first term. Then America had 4 years without Trump to think about life without Trump. And you guys were so clueless, they came and brought him back, right? Why don't you try and find a candidate and try and find a set of policies which resonate with the American people in a way that actually promotes you, rather than at the moment your only policy seemingly collectively to be Trump's a monster, he's a Nazi, he's a fascist.
That's exactly it. Now, Piers Morgan, of course, is letting out that scream to mock the left. But remember, they actually had events where they would go and scream at the sky for their own mental health. Okay? But Greg Gutfeld makes the perfect point. All right? Everything the left says about the right never comes to fruition. It's just a way to basically excite the base to get them out to vote, or possibly to go out and have one of their peaceful protests in the street. Okay? But everything we say about the left has already happened. We've experienced it, and we know what's going to happen in the future. And Greg Gutfeld, of course, mentions all of the migrant crime, the women being attacked, the Americans being murdered, all right? This is stuff that actually happens because of the Democrat and the far leftist rules and ideology. But of course, don't forget everything else. We, of course, had the draconian lockdowns and vax mandates. We had the flooding of our country with foreigners. We had wide open borders. And of course, we had the government targeting parents at school board meetings simply because they disagreed with letting men into women's sports. And then, of course, we have the persecution and prosecution of political opponents. These are all things the left did to the right. These are all things the left did to Americans that just simply didn't agree with what they were doing. And these are all things they will do again if they ever get back into power. And of course, that's a great point that Piers Morgan actually makes, right? We had Trump, we had Biden, and then we went back to Trump in droves because people were fed up with the insanity of the far left. Right? Nobody thought it would get as crazy as it did. Nobody thought that it would get as unruly as it did. Nobody thought that people would not care about America as much as they did. And yet, here we are. But you got Whoopi Goldberg out there saying, oh, we've got the draft, but also no gas, no food. I don't think she understands how rich in oil this country is. We don't have to buy 1 gallon of gas from any foreign nation, but we do it because it's cheaper. And the reason it's cheaper is mostly because of regulations, etc., that we have in this country put upon us by, you guessed it, the left. And as far as food production goes, it's the same story, right? We can make it all here, we can grow it all here, we can butcher it all here, but we buy it from foreign countries because it's a heck of a lot cheaper because of regulations, etc. Okay? But this is all about the fear-mongering and the reality of what's actually happened in the past. And by the way, even if all that stuff didn't happen, we would still have history to look back on at what happens every single time the far leftists, the socialists, the communists get into power. And guess what? It ain't pretty. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me.
It's a man, baby!
It makes no damn sense.
You've been living in a dream world.
So you get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an AngryTeacher t-shirt designed by me, AngryTeacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.